Skin boots on a Saturday night.
Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here and welcome back to an all new Call of Duty 2018 Zombies video. Today we're going to be talking about Leroy, also known as Arthur, possibly returning within Call of Duty 2018 Zombies. Now yes, it is way too early to be talking about Call of Duty 2018. This game is going to be releasing in November of this year, so we are still really far away from getting any official information. Official information from Activision and or Treyarch will start coming for Call of Duty 2018 and I would say the earliest of around a few months or so, which isn't too far out of the reach if you really think about it. And we still do not know exactly what this game is going to be called since it has not been announced yet, but most people think it's going to be called Black Ops 4 and there's been a ton of evidence for that as well, and that seems like the most logical option for Activision in terms of making money. Now within the Zombies community recently, because the community is so dry, pretty much all everyone's been talking about is Call of Duty 2018, be it Black Ops 4 or whatever the hell it ends up being called. Because I mean, just what else are people gonna post? Are they just gonna spam out top 5s every day? There's not really much else to do. Now I've stuck to my gun and I've been covering World War II Zombies ever since it released. I've been one of the only Zombies YouTubers who has fully devoted my channel to World War II Zombies. In fact, I have made more World War II Zombies videos than anyone else within the community. But I finally give in today and I wanted to make a video talking about Call of Duty 2018 because of the simple fact of I don't know what the hell else I'm supposed to cover for World War II Zombies until DLC 1 is out, and also I want views obviously, so why not make this video? And also with a ton of my theories and speculation videos in the past, I've actually been bang on with a ton of things. For example, when I was talking about the Shadow Man returning within Revelations and the fact that the Blood Vial's true purpose is to keep the cycle repeating, and everything I talked about ended up coming true. That is just one example. But anyways, if you do want to enjoy this video by the end of it, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's try and go for 1,115 likes on today's video, as well as subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future upload here on the channel, and don't forget to turn notifications on to ensure furthermore that you never miss an upload. But with that all out of the way, let's get straight on into the video. So I did talk about this theory within a previous video in which I discussed the potential London Zombies map being the map on the disc for Call of Duty 2018 Zombies. I honestly have a very strong inkling that Leroy, also known as Arthur, is going to be returning within Call of Duty 2018 Zombies because it makes complete sense from a storyline standpoint and in how Treyarch like to build things up. So I'm going to start off my theory nice and brief. Whenever Treyarch tie a loose end or they reintroduce something into the storyline that has not been talked about for quite some time, it is always for a greater purpose. They don't just tie loose ends for no reason to shut the community up, it always drives the storyline forward. For example, in Der Eisendrache, we received a new cipher in which detailed Peter McCain falling through an aurora borealis. We didn't know what on earth this was referring to. Then with DLC 3, when Gorod Krovi released, Peter McCain was reintroduced to the storyline as he fell through the aurora borealis and assisted our four premise characters in falling to safety. Peter McCain had not been mentioned since Shino Numa. We had not seen any reference of him ever since Black Ops 1. And the Treyarch were not just tying up a loose end by reintroducing him, he further drove the storyline. Now if we then move over to Der Eisendrache, Leroy, who we now know is called Arthur, that's his actual name, was reintroduced to the storyline. One of the paintings that we see when we're getting ourselves the wolf bow upgrade is a painting of Leroy, and he is arched over in that typical position that we saw from Buried. And it was weird why he was reintroduced into the storyline. We knew that he had a connection to the Wolf King, but we didn't know exactly why he was present within this painting until Zombies Chronicles released for Black Ops 3 in mid 2017, and we got the Zombies timeline release. least. Now, within the Zombies timeline, we realized how Arthur ties into the storyline of Der Eisendrache. So within the timeline, in the beginning, there was only the Aether and the Keepers. Among them were two beings who would later be known by many names. One will be known as Dr. Monty, the other as the Shadow Man. On September the 3rd, 5 AD, knowing the planet as a gateway to Agartha, the Apothecans send meteors of Element 115 to Earth. They believe humanity will one day use Element 115 to wage war amongst themselves, opening a rift that will allow the Apothecans to escape the Dark Aether. On January the 15th and 1292, the Great War between humanity and the Apothecans begins. On April the 14th, 1294, Sir Pablo Marines is saved from the clutches of a Magua by 4 unknown heroes. They will later be known as Primus. Then on December the 31st, 1299, together with the Keepers, Primus defeats the Apothecans, bringing the Great War to an end. On January the 1st, 1300, before they seemingly disappear from history, Primus instructs the Wolf King to begin building the Eisendrache. On September the 19th, 1318, honouring the Wolf King's dying request, his loyal servant Arthur scatters and buries his bones in the grounds of the Eisendrache, accompanied by the King's Wolf. And this is what we see when we are getting ourselves the Wolf Bow within the Eisendrache. We see the ghost of the King's Wolf re-uncover these bones that Arthur had scattered across the castle grounds. So now it makes sense why we had this painting of Arthur within the Eisendrache from a storyline standpoint. Then on September the 20th, 1318, temporal rifts teleport Arthur to Resolution 1295 in 2025 Angolia. Now, there is no other mention of Arthur within the timeline until October the 13th, 2025, where the Earth fracturing triggers further temporal rifts, teleporting an 1800s American western town underneath a mining facility in Angolia. Arthur is pulled through the rift from 1318, arriving in the now buried town. And that is how the Eisendrache ties into Buried. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because the last time we had any mention of the transit crew was in Buried. So on December the 31st, 2025, Buried happens. Victis, who are our transit crew, arrive at the old western town now located beneath a mining facility in Angolia. They discover Arthur in a jail cell. He assists them on their journey. The voices of Maxis and Richtofen return. They activate the final polarization device in Maxis' favour. Now corrupted by the Dark Aether, he reveals his true intentions to Victus and punishes Richtofen by trapping his soul in a zombie. Drawn into Agartha by her father Maxis, Samantha witnesses the evil that has corrupted him. When a rift opens in Dimension 63 in 1918, she reaches out to that timeline's Maxis for help. Then on January the 10th, 2036, Richtofen instructs undead Richtofen to pursue Victus and recover their blood vials. Then on January the 19th, 2036, Primus Richtofen begins to manipulate Stullinger, opening a rift for Victus to begin their new journey. Pursued by undead Richtofen and an army of the undead, Victus enters the rift. Then on January the 19th, 2036, Maxis destroys Earth and all of its surviving inhabitants, and we do not learn what happens to Arthur after the Earth is blown up by Maxis. Now obviously at the end of the Buried Easter egg we have two different endings. We have the Richtofen endgame or we have the Maxis endgame. This is what happens when the Maxis endgame occurs. The timeline has no mention whatsoever of Richtofen's endgame within Buried, but I do not think that it's because it's not canon. I think that we will see an explanation for Richtofen's endgame within Buried within the future, and maybe Leroy does survive in that ending. But regardless, the reason why this is interesting is because with this Maxis endgame, after this happens, we then go over to the Call of Duty Zombies timeline, and this is in between Zetsubo Noshima and Garod Krovi, where our characters go through a rift and go over to Mob of the Dead, and they retrieve the blood vials of the transit crew that we see within the Call of Duty Zombies timeline. And this all occurs after Richtofen instructs undead Richtofen to pursue Victus and recover their blood vials after they went through the rift that was opened up. Now the reason why this is interesting and why I think this is significant is because the Call of Duty Zombies comic books end on one thing: a new loading screen of Mob of the Dead. This was the final thing that we saw from the comic books. Now this leads people to think that the bonus map within Call of Duty 2018 is going to be Mob of the Dead Remastered, and this makes sense, and that is probably why it was excluded from Zombies Chronicles, since initially it was going to be within Zombies Chronicles. Now I'm going to make a whole video summarizing everything that we know so far regarding Mob of the Dead Remastered remastered. But a lot of the community do think it's going to be the bonus map for Call of Duty 2018 because of this clip that I'm going to play for you guys right now. That is an interview with Jason Blundell and JC Backfire after he was discussing the fact why Mob of the Dead wasn't a part of Zombies Chronicles, why it was not remade / remastered.
But yeah, Mob, I can't say too much, but what I would say is I'm sure there's another purpose for that at some point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I didn't feel it thematically fit in the pack, and yeah, who knows? Who knows?
But you know that map's special.
So it has a special place in our hearts, you know.
That at least that's good. I think that's a good answer for the community.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that was one of the #1 questions I had. Like just after that whole stream was, why not Mob? Like why not stuff like that?
There's 8 maps, and I think it has another place, and you know.
So that was basically Jason Blundell hinting that it will be making a return. Now, the reason why I brought up this loading screen is because on the back page of the loading screen, it references the Parliament once again. Now, if you don't know what this newspaper that is behind the Mob of the Dead loading screen, this new one that we received is there is an Easter egg within the Eisendrache where if you get the plunger and then you kill a Panzer Soldat, the plunger will then be upgraded for a short duration. Now, if you get zombie kills with the upgraded plunger by this newspaper, the newspaper will change to show that zombies have been teleported to the heart of London and there has been an outbreak of zombies in the heart of London and Parliament has been called for an emergency meeting, and that's what this newspaper is referencing behind this new Mob of the Dead loading screen. Now, this Easter egg has led a lot of people to think that the map on the disc within Call of Duty 2018 is going to be a map set within London, and this makes complete sense, although it is not 100% confirmed. But from a storyline standpoint, it does make sense for us to be going to London because this was first hinted to us within the Eisendrache, then it was hinted to us again alongside this new Mob of the Dead loading screen hinting that Mob of the Dead will be returning, and the pages behind that, so it's basically saying that if Mob of the Dead is to return, this London map would be the map following after that. And we also saw these newspapers within the remastered version of Moon that was part of Zombies Chronicles. Now remember back to what I said earlier, Treyarch do everything for a reason. Whenever they reintroduce something to the storyline, it is always for a reason. Under Eisendrache, we saw this Easter egg hinting at a London Zombies map, but not only did we have this Easter egg, this was where Arthur or Leroy was reintroduced to the storyline. These two things seemingly are hinting at the future, and I just feel like Leroy is going to be making a return. I have a very, very strong feeling that that is going to be the case. The reason why I say this is because just look on YouTube, Arthur or Leroy is a beloved character and everyone would love to see him return. He is one of the most beloved characters ever since we received him within Buried. Look at all the storyline videos regarding him. They have received millions upon millions of views, and Treyarch will have been seeing the views and attraction that Arthur or Leroy holds, and they know that he is a very popular character and people want to see him return. And not just that, we ended on a cliffhanger within the Call of Duty Zombies timeline and we did not find out what happened to Leroy. And what if he went through the rift with the transit crew, with Victus, or something like that? Now, I don't want to talk too much about this London Zombies map that people have been speculating about, but I feel like we may see something similar to what we saw within Buried. How Buried was basically 2 timelines happening at once that had merged together. So what I was thinking is that what if this London map could be a medieval London happening during the Black Death, during the outbreak, and it could be merged with another timeline that is closer, because I don't think we're going to go that far in the past, but who knows? And maybe Leroy or Arthur has been displaced once again. I don't know, I'm making some wild theories here, but Leroy was an amazing character. He did so much by feeding him candy within Buried. He did so many different things. He could get you power-ups, he could build you items, he could move the mystery box, he could hold crawlers, he could just do so much amazing stuff. And also, if the base map is to be set within London, it would make sense Leroy could be fed candy and booze once again, because sort of the theme would be very similar to Buried if you think about it, because it would be small little shack houses. But yeah, this has been some wild, far-fetched speculation. I just have a really strong feeling that Leroy is going to be making a return for some reason, but you can let me know your thoughts and ideas in the comment section down below. Again, it's way too early to be speculating, so this could be completely off the ball, and it probably is, but I just have a really strong feeling he's going to be returning happening for some weird reason, as I have said a million times. Maybe the London map will not be happening, but I really do feel like Leroy is going to play a part within the storyline for Treyarch's next Call of Duty title because of the fact that he has just been reintroduced to the storyline, and I think that has to be for a reason. And also, we don't know what happened to him after Richtofen's endgame for Buried, because that is not discussed within the timeline at all. And maybe when Richtofen's endgame happens, that's what breaks the cycle. I don't know, only time will tell. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But one thing's for certain, he is a very important character, and I really do feel like he is going to return. But anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Black Ops 3 zombies, World War II zombies, and Call of Duty 2018 zombies news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.